Turn your radio up and listen. It's time for City Life. Here's Rob McGowan.
All right, the mayor's coming up. Yeah, it's pretty. I gotta try and see if I get prettier than the mayor here. So what's been going on anyway? You had your run there, and everybody has their ups and downs. What was that like going through that experience?
I'd say it was disappointing, obviously. I felt like I could serve well in that role, and really wanted to put myself forward, and it was very close. It's always tough to lose a close race, but that's what happened, and so it's disappointing, but at the same time I'm happy and excited to continue on as mayor. That's what my focus will be on now.
Well, that's good. Well, we're glad to have you. Maybe we needed you here in this role for a while longer. Who knows? And you would have done great at both jobs. It's just one of those things. Everybody has their ups and downs. I think Clinton lost twice before he ever even got elected as president. So it's one of those things. You never know. Depends on the mood swings and.
Well, you have to, I think it's important no matter what you're doing, that if you're interested in something, you have to take the shot, right? You have to pursue the things that you want to pursue, and not for me again, but for the community. Didn't work out this time doesn't mean that it won't work out maybe in the future. And there's still lots of really great work to do here as mayor, and in general in my life, we'll always pursue the things we're passionate about, and sometimes things will work out, sometimes they won't, and as you know, that's just life, right? But it's better to be out there pursuing things than sort of sitting on the bench and wondering, right? I never want to have any regrets, and I never want to wonder what if I had have tried.
Oh, I think you would have done great. There's no doubt about that. And it's Lisa's a tough battle always, and there's so much going on in the city right now, and the council's been doing a great job, actually. Now the new council, what you guys are doing with all this transparency and so much out there, people getting involved, I really like it. It just seems to be, I feel like something's in the air. So maybe you're where you're meant to be.
Well, there's no question that I'm really passionate about the job of mayor, and that hasn't changed, and it won't change, and we've talked a lot, Rob, over the last few years. The last council really got so many good things done in the community and started to build some momentum. As you know, I'm a very progressive minded guy, very forward looking. I'm never satisfied. We're always going to need to do better. And we started a lot of that work last time. In this new council, it is fantastic. The new people that were elected are all very passionate. They want to make things happen, and they want to make them happen quickly, which is speaking my language. And all the returning councilors, that we've built a lot of plans, and we're moving in a certain direction. And with our new colleagues, we're going to keep moving in that direction, and we're going to move even faster, I think. So there is a lot of momentum in the community. Those things always take time, right? But we've put the work in, we've built the plans, we've built the foundation. And it seems to me that over the next few years, we're going to start continuing to see that momentum grow, and we're going to see those wins, whether that's in housing or mental health, or, renewing the public spaces, building new trails that everybody wants to see. Finally, we're getting that dog park. There are so many good things that are happening now, and that are going to keep happening over the next few years.
Yeah, I'm excited about the trail thing. I guess they've got the first part of the study in, and they say a couple of months now for the second part. I'm not quite sure how that works, but that sounds like it's getting closer and closer.
Well, it's not a study, it's a plan, actually. So
okay.
The plan has now been brought back to council in a draft form. There are little things that need to be tweaked there. So little things that were missed or didn't get put quite right. So just little adjustments, but basically the plan is at this point done with those few minor adjustments that we'll make. And, with a plan in place, we can now start doing it. So it's great timing. The heart of the plan, the spine of the plan, as they refer to it, is what we call the river loop. So that's going to be connecting existing and new pieces of trail, and at times side shoulders on roads like on King George Highway, for example, and more sidewalks that will give us one big continuous loop all the way up and down the river. So connecting up.
So where does it start and end, the loop? That the first
So the
part that
loop,
you're doing?
basically it'll be between two bridges, right? So
Okay.
Centennial Bridge and over on the Newcastle Chatham Head side, depending on how things go, in a dream scenario, it could be the Morrissey Bridge. In an alternative scenario,
nice.
the Miramichi Bridge, but
Yeah.
between a bridge to bridge and up and down on both sides, that continuous circle loop will be the heart of the plan. And of course, then it'll grow out from there. So immediately, we'll be able to put money in this fall's budget for next year to start doing those first pieces of that plan. So we know the commitment
awesome.
from council is there to get going. A lot of the councillors, if you ask them, this was one of the things that they heard more about than anything else during the campaign in May. And so there's a commitment there to do this because it's just a tremendous asset that we should have in the community. We know we're a little behind other places, so we're going to catch up. It's great for quality of life. It's great for tourism. It's just a win all around.
That sounds awesome. Well, yeah, I was saying that if people get together and they talk to council and they send messages and let you guys know what they want to do, things can happen, and it's really making a difference. So that's incredible. Is there any so as far as the bridge work and stuff, is that all settled, or do we know what's happening with the bridge? Is it over a long period of time, short period of time?
The Centennial Bridge?
Yes, the Centennial Bridge, sorry.
I mean, we don't know yet
Okay.
at this point. And that, that I have spoken recently with Minister Green, and she has informed me that her department is still working on plans and finalizing plans. So she's indicated to me that their guideposts are trying to finish the work as quickly as possible with as little disruption as possible and for the least amount of money as possible. So we know sometimes that those priorities can conflict. But she has committed that when they have some plans that they're prepared, that they feel ready about, that they'll come to council and we can discuss those plans. And in particular, as it relates to the sidewalk as well, or a pedestrian crossing, that's something for us as a mayor and council and for citizens clearly, and really that it's essential that bridge continue to have a pedestrian access. We know that so many in the community, especially some of the most vulnerable, use that to get to work and also to access essential services and shops. So, we're going to give them the opportunity to finish their plan and present it to us and hopefully work with us. There are some things that are going to be very important to us, although we're certainly happy to work with them as best we can and find solutions.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Now, what about as far as the widening of the King George Highway? What's the plan with that? I've heard different things. So are they going to be doing that during the bridge construction, or to make the traffic better, or how's that going to work?
Well, they certainly wouldn't do it during the bridge construction.
Okay.
We have, there have been a number of improvements made to the road already over the last few years, but there is, of course, still more that could be done in terms of addressing some of the, the in and off points and widening a bit. Again, not just for the cars, but also for through the active transportation plan, this was reaffirmed, but there are big portions of the road where there is no sidewalk and really no ability for somebody to walk and bike. So when we're thinking about mitigating those traffic issues with the Centennial Bridge, of course, that means very much for cars, but also if we can divert more people to be biking or walking, that's going to help also, right? So, but no, there's more work. And so we know that they're not going to start work on the deck, we understand, until 2023 in some form. So we do have one more summer to try to get more of that work done. And we're certainly asking and pushing them to do that. We've submitted those requests and we'll do what we can to get the minister to commit to that work as well.
Awesome. That sounds great. I wanted to ask you something. So outside of being the mayor and great work you do there, you have other businesses. You do filming and work around the city. What is it that you do besides being mayor? Just so some people know, get an idea of what Adam really is about.
some people, I think a lot of people don't realize, first of all, that being mayor, although it can easily and often does take up full-time hours, is not a full-time job. So I do, yes, have several other, my primary job, if you would, or career is a film and television director and producer. So I lived, as you know, Rob, for 10 years in Toronto, and worked at CTV Bell inside of the network as a producer and director. So basically more on the creative side of things. I will, create or come up with different ideas for different TV shows or segments within TV shows, write those, go out and into the field and shoot them and direct them, come back and edit them and put them together. So now I freelance, which means I basically am a one-person company and I get hired to do different projects. So I still work on some TV shows. I work on, I'm working right now actually on a couple of different television projects, an interview documentary show with comedian James Mollinger, and an animated children's series, which my company is producing, called Little Goose Cub, which is an Indigenous program. We've got an Indigenous director we're working with, and that'll go on to APTN next year. Then I do commercial work too, like working with Tourism New Brunswick or other commercial clients. So there's always, it's project-based, it's very creative, it's a lot of fun. And it's a great balance to the work as mayor. And further to that, I'm not as involved anymore, but I am one of the co-owners and co-founders of the New Maritime Beer Company, the craft brewery that we have locally here in Miramichi as well. So that was sort of in addition to my regular work and work as mayor, with a couple of my buddies that I grew up with, Matt and Brent, who are still now running the shop. Took us a couple of years, and we wanted to see that in the community. We felt like the community was ready. We were the biggest place in Atlantic Canada without one, so we did the work. And of course, now we have New Maritime Beer Company down in downtown Newcastle.
Oh, so you're a busy guy. For people that don't know, you're always doing something. That's awesome. So in your life, what's something that all of us are trying to motivate people to have some kind of purpose in our life? So what's your goal in life as far as making the world a better place? I'm trying to figure it out, what everybody's doing to lift their life and make the world a better place. For you, what is that about?
Well, I mean, I think, I guess I mentioned it earlier, that idea of continuous improvement, right? So for me, as I'm a passionate person about making as positive changes and continuous improvement in my own life. For me, and certainly a foundational moment in how I look at life was when my mom passed. I was 30 years old. That was 7 years ago now in November. And it makes you really reorient your priorities, right? So above all else, I think the objective in life should be to try to be happy and to try to help other people be happy. So, in terms of I find it fulfilling to try to make a difference, to try to help people, and to try to make my community better. And so I feel like I have been and can do that as mayor. So I can really help make people's lives better, make my community better, but it's also fulfilling to me to do that. It almost, it's not selfish work by any stretch, but it does feel good when you can help somebody, or when you can renew a park, or when you can give somebody a trail or help somebody open a business. Those are all really positive things. So, I just, as by nature, help. As you mentioned, I like to be busy. I like to feel like I'm being productive and like I'm helping people. And even in my creative work and the stories we tell, right? I feel it's important as a director to help tell different people's stories and give their voice, amplify their voices, and put those interesting and thought-provoking things into the world too. So really everything I do is trying to help make the world better in some way. And so, it's fulfilling. So, we never get there, and what it's like, Rob, like, we can have that a moment of happiness, and something will always happen in life. So the more we're just constantly working towards it, it's probably going to be a lifelong journey.
Yes. Well, it's all in the journey anyway, right? It's each day we try to make it just a little bit better. I'm always talking about incrementally, what can we do today that we didn't do yesterday, or how can we make somebody around us just lift them up a little bit more, tell them a joke, to anything, just the littlest thing can make a difference to somebody.
Well, and that incremental approach, I'm a big believer in that too. And just do a little bit every day, and over months and years, that's going to add up, right? Like in politics, as mayor, some days it feels like you can't. It's so much work to get the simplest things done. Oh my God, why does this take so long, right? But then if you look back after a couple of years and you can see all the things that did get done, like when sometimes in anything, when we're in the middle of it, we have this tunnel vision. It's hard to appreciate the change we're really making and the impact we're really having on a community or on people, right? Even on a one-to-one basis. And over time, with a bit of distance, we can see, wow, that did make a big difference.
That's awesome. No, well, I've known you for years, and I've always known you to be a good guy and making a difference in our community. And even personally in my life, you've touched in places that with my daughter and grants and things like that. And when she was doing the MRC festival, you guys worked with her and they talked a lot. So you're always doing something for our community, and I appreciate everything you do, Adam. And I just wanted to let people know that you're a good guy. You do a great job.
Well, thank you, Rob, and so are you. And it's especially been important for me in the talking about Naomi, who is such a wonderful young person. And when her and Sam wanted to start that little theater festival a few years ago now, but for me, I take it as a responsibility as well, further to just all of the other things we've talked about, as a mayor with a platform with visibility, to help and promote and support, some of the more perhaps, not to say in some cases marginalized, in some cases just minorities or less visible. So to really support our youth, for example, and to really support arts. And, a big passion for me has been supporting newcomers and making them feel welcome, and our LGBTQ community. So really, anybody in the community who's traditionally not been the majority, to make sure that they do feel welcome and that there's a place here for them, right? Like, diversity is our strength, and our youth are so important. We need our youth to connect with the community, because we need our youth to stay here, and we need our youth to feel like there's a place for them here and they belong. So, all of those things that you mentioned, I take extra care with people, who want to start something new or have an idea that's not really been done before.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of newcomers, we got the Mayor's Barbecue coming up. So that's always good each year. That's a fun kind of event where we sort of welcome people into our community. I like that. How did that idea come about anyway?
Well, I love the Mayor's Barbecue. I'm proud to say that it has been, and I'm sure it will continue to be, the biggest welcome event in New Brunswick history. A few years ago, when we started to realize the incredible importance and urgency of population retention and growth, and how our local businesses are in desperate need of workers. And as a community, look, we've lost 20% of our population since we became a city in 95. We cannot sustain the level of even community events and activities with volunteers if we don't keep people here and have new people coming and choosing Miramichi as their home. So at that time, we were starting already to see momentum in newcomers, which for us meant dozens and a couple of hundred newcomers a year for Miramichi is significant for a community of our size. But once people arrive, that's only half the battle. You have to make sure that they really feel welcomed into the community. So when we listened to newcomers, they talked about all of the things that could help them feel welcome, connecting with long-term locals, connecting with their mayor and their elected officials, having access to information and resources. So where do I get a license? Where might I get a loan to start a business? Where can my kids go to different activities? And so that's a big part of the barbecue too, is what we call the Information Expo. So it brings people together for community. We celebrate the cultures, there's performances, maybe not quite yet this year, but there's usually food as well, right? Eating together, breaking bread together is something that connects us. So it's about connection and feeling welcome and valued. And so it came from listening to newcomers, and then the Multicultural Association, myself, Carrefour Beausoleil, the Chamber of Commerce, the city, we just got a group of people together and said, we're going to do this. and it was a tremendous success, and it has been every year since. And, last year we had to go virtual, but I'm so excited that it'll be Sunday, August 29th. We'll be back down at Elm Park in person once again this year. So, and it's open to everybody. It's not just to newcomers, anybody listening. It's for everybody. And that's the idea, is for people who've been here their whole lives and people who've been here 2 weeks to come together and meet and celebrate together as Miramichiers.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And I want to thank you for coming out and spending some time with us. You're always on and helping out and letting the city know what's going on. And every Saturday now at 9:00, we have a show on where we talk to councilors and the mayor and people about what's going on in the city every single week. So if you want to know what's going on in the city, make sure you tune in Saturday mornings. And when you're driving to go get your stuff and go into town and meet people, and remember, think up a little joke or something. Think up something to say nice to the people that you're that are taking care of you as you do business. It's a great place to live.
Absolutely. It's the very best, as we say, Rob.
That's for sure, the very best. Well, thanks again, Adam, for coming out and spending some time with us.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you do too, Rob. You're a great asset to the community, and I wish you all the best in all of your endeavors too.
Thank you, Adam. You have a great day. I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right.
Take care.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks, Adam.
All right. Well, thank you. So Rob, when you said, is this going to go to air on the Saturday?
Yeah, every Saturday morning now we have a show called City Life. So
Okay.
I have different politicians on each week. I think so tomorrow it'll be you, and I think I had Jason Harris on too. So there's two of you on tomorrow.
Great. Yeah.
And I'll send you out the video clip. I usually put the clip of us talking up online, so that's not
Great.
as popular, but it's out there anyway for people if they want to see it.
Yes, that's right.
All right, Adam. You have a
Give
great
them in
day.
every form. Well, have a great day. Have a great trip to PEI.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe get some film clips. We'll see.
Yes.
All right. See you later.
All right. Take care.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting